maximum alternating subarray sum. So let's just take an example to understand the question. So for this example, we have the nums 3 minus 1, 1 and 2. So the maximum subarray sum going to be this is 3 minus 1 and 1 because it is the alternating sum. So this is 3 minus this minus 1 and plus 1, it's going to be 5. So how can we solve this problem? So for such problem, because we are not sure, so for example, this is all the nums and this is the index I, and at this position, we don't know if this is coming from plus or this is coming from minus. We don't know. So this is why we're going to define the state for the dynamic programming. So this means, so for example, this is I and this is I minus 1. So for I minus 1, if this is a plus, so this means from some number it's going to plus. For example, this number going to be 3, so it's going to plus 3. So what's going to be the next? So next, the position is I. So if this is plus, so for the next position, it can be a minus. So for example, if this is a 2, it's going to be 3 and minus 2. But if this is a plus, we can also select itself. So for example, if this is a plus, we can also select this 3. Maybe this 3 is the maximum. So for example, if this is a minus, let's say, if this is minus, the maximum number maybe it is maybe it is a minus 1. Let's check. So what about the next? So this is I minus 2. Yeah. So for I minus 2, this is the maximum number. The sign is minus and the maximum number is minus 1. And for the next, it is a plus. So if it is a plus, it can be minus 1 plus 3. It can be two numbers, so it's going to be 2. Or it can be 3. Yeah, because we are going to calculate the maximum subarray sum. If it is starting from this number, so for example, if it is starting from this number, this 1, so it must be positive 1. It can never be negative because this is the starting point. If it is starting from a negative 1, it must be this negative number, negative 1. Yeah, it can never become positive. So this means if we are starting from this position, we can never change the sign from positive to negative or negative to positive. Yeah, so this means from here, so this is a negative sign. This is the state, and the number is minus 1. It is the maximum number. So for the next, it is a positive sign. It must be a positive sign, and the number is 3. So we have two decisions. We can choose this 3, or we can choose this minus 1 plus 3. But we're going to choose the maximum, so it's going to be this 3. Yeah. So what about the next? So for the next, it's going to be a minus. But if it is a 2, so what's going to happen? So if we want to get this number, so it's going to be 3 minus 2, it's going to be 1. Or we will not choose it, it's going to be the maximum number, it's going to be 3. But why we going to choose this number 2? Why we going to use 3 minus 2? Maybe for the next number, this sign is positive. Maybe this is a 6. So 3 minus 2, it is 1 plus 6, it is 7, because 7 can be the maximum. Yeah. So this is how we're going to solve this problem. So now let's just use dynamic programming to solve the problem. So we're going to prepare the length of the nums, and we're going to prepare a state array. It's going to be a DP array. So inside it's going to be negative infinity for I in raise n. And for the first position, we needed to define the DP. So we're going to define the so this is the first number f0. So f0, the first position is going to be 0 and 1. So we're going to define the 0 as negative sign and 1 as positive sign. So inside, let me give a negative infinity and nums 0. Yeah. So we're going to have 0 and 1. So 0 means a negative sign, and 1 means it is a positive sign. Yeah. So 1 means a positive sign. Now we are going to check one by one. So the result gonna be starting from nums 0. Now we're gonna check the next number, which is gonna be starting from 1 to so we're gonna check fi with 0. So this means so if it is a negative sign, so what's gonna happen? Yeah. So this means currently, if it is a negative sign, it means previously it must be a positive sign, right? So it's going to be fi minus 1, and 1 is a positive sign. So if it is a negative sign, so we're going to minus this number. It's going to be minus nums I. And similarly for fi1, it means currently it is a positive sign, so we're going to choose the maximum of fi minus 1. It must be a negative sign. This is a 0. If it is a negative sign, it's going to plus nums I, and it's going to choose the maximum of the two, nums I. Now we're going to prepare the final result. It's going to be the maximum of the result with fi, and finally we're going to return the result. So fi can it can have fi0 and fi1. So fi0 it means a negative sign, and fi1 it means it is a positive sign. Yeah. So this is a fi0, it is a negative sign, and fi1 it means it is a positive sign. So from the beginning, so if it is a positive sign, so we're gonna prepare it as the number itself. For example, this is 3. But if it is a negative sign, we can set it as a negative infinity. So this is okay. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna prepare. This means for the next number, so if it is 0, it means it's gonna be a negative. It's gonna be a negative sign. So if it is a negative sign, so we're gonna use this number. We're gonna use the previous number, which is gonna be a negative sign, minus this value. Minus nums I. So the nums I is 1. Nums I is 1, and this value is nums 0. Yeah, so this means it is a negative sign. But if it is a positive sign, so we're gonna choose fi1. So it's gonna be the number itself, and this number fi minus 1 0 plus nums I, because this number gonna be negative infinity. So it means from the beginning for the yeah, let me just think about it. It can be this number itself. Yeah, it can be this number itself, and then it can be plus this number before it. Before it, it's gonna be a negative number, negative infinity. Yeah. Now let me just run it to have a check. Yeah, because this is gonna be the maximum of fi. Yeah. Now as you can see, it works. Now let me just submit it. Yeah, as you can see, it passed all testing cases, and the time complexity is ON. And the difficult part is that we're going to prepare two states. So we're going to use fi, it means for the ith number. If it is 0, it means for the current number, we're going to use a negative sign. If it is 1, we're going to use a positive sign. Now for the next, now this is the state from the beginning for the first number. So this nums 0 from here, it means it is a positive sign. It means 0 plus this number, it's going to be nums 0. But for the first number, if it is a negative sign, so we're gonna set it as a negative infinity. This is just easy for the calculation. Now for the next number, for the ith number, what are we gonna do? So if we're gonna have two decisions, it can be 0 or 1. If it is a 0, it means for the current number, it's going to be a negative sign. If it is a negative sign, so the previous number must be a positive sign. So this is why if it is fi minus 1 with 1 is a positive sign, must minus this number. Because this is a negative sign, we don't need to choose the maximum of the two. Yeah, because for the first number, it can always be the positive sign. We can never give a negative sign. But if it is a positive sign, it's going to be fi 1. So it's going to be the maximum of the two. It can be itself, and it can be the previous number, which is going to be a negative sign, and plus of the current number. And finally, we're going to choose the maximum of the two. Yeah. So I think that's all about it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.